In Search of Great Stories presents
D-R-A-N-A drama.
Spoil the hell out of this movie.
What happened to the tow truck, Winston?
There's a lot of meta here. Let's get to watching great movies.
Welcome to Movie Lover 22.
Welcome to Movie Lover 22, the show where I'm going to tell you what I think, and if you don't like it, you can go listen to somebody else. Anyway, we're going to do a Coming Soon Part 2. So we're going to talk about movies coming out over summer 2025. And today I am joined by Liam from the DCAU, which is the DC Animated Universe. Really good show, really good podcast. You can go check that out when you get a moment. But it's been 9+ months since we've visited the topic of what's to come in the theater. And this summer we have a lot. Like right now we're halfway through May and a lot of these movies are already out. So you can blow through a couple of these that we've already seen. Number one, Sinners. Already out, and I've already seen it, but Liam, you have not. So I'll try to withhold comments on that. Really. Also, I introduced you. Did you want to say?
Yeah,
anything?
I was kind of waiting for you to stop talking for like five goddamn seconds.
I'm sorry, I'm not used to having a guest.
I know.
I've had one guest once, and he was sitting next to me.
Well, yes, thank you for being here. Yes, I am, as mentioned, on the DCAU Review podcast, which puts out a new episode every Saturday. So I'll do my long form plugs at the end. But yes, Sinners, everybody loves it. You've seen it. I have not seen it. I'm gonna see it. Still want to see it. I desperately want to see it on a big screen. I don't want to wait for streaming with this one. So I am excited to see it, but I can't yet join in the fervor.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. I definitely see it in theaters though. It's definitely a theater experience. I have heard, I didn't know it before I saw it, but apparently it's an IMAX movie. So I am now, like one of the movies we're going to talk about, Mission Impossible. That's an IMAX movie. I'm going to go see it in IMAX. So like there's certain things where I'll shell out a few extra bucks to get that extra little bit of enjoyment. Especially if it's filmed in IMAX. Like, I don't give a shit about Dune, but I definitely am not going to watch it now because I can't see it in IMAX. Like the ideal way to watch that movie is gone forever. Like I can't.
They might do a re-release before Part 3 comes out. Also, they're good movies.
Sure thing, buddy. All right, so we talked about Sinners, Thunderbolts. Both of us have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
That's been out for I think about almost 2 weeks. That was a nice, solid, well-rounded movie. Get some popcorn. That was fun. This is a little depressing, but it was lighthearted at the same time. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I was not really sure what to expect with it. I liked the cast a lot, but Marvel's been putting out a lot of like C pluses for me the last couple of years, which is to say not terrible, not particularly offensive, but also they leave no impact on me. So this one, I was like, this was fun. It was a good cast. And perhaps crucially, it did not end with two characters shooting different colored lasers at each other, like a good 80% of Marvel films do. So that was a big plus for me. And and they what they set up for the future. It was the first time I can remember being like interested and excited to see what happens next in this never-ending multi-billion-dollar movie soap opera that we watch every few months.
100%. There's another reviewer that I like, and he talks about a lot of Marvel like action scenes are just one guy doing karate against another guy who's doing karate. And this movie didn't have that either, really. Like there are some moments, but a lot of it was kind of a mental game. Which I very much appreciated. It was a nice break from, like, as you put it, the C pluses. I'd at least give it a B minus, if not just a regular old B. If if we're grading on a curve, we've come up a nice way, I think. There's a movie here listed as Shadow Force. Don't know what that is. Looks like it's got Idris Elba. Who the fuck is on this poster? Hold on. Box Office Mojo does not help with this. No, I don't want to go to IMDb or whatever. We're skipping it anyway. It doesn't matter. All right, next on the list, coming out this week. It says May 9th. This is incorrect. So Friendship is listed as a May 9th release, but it actually gets a wide release May 23rd. So Friendship, Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd. I want to see this movie. This looks so fun. And look, not only is it supposed to be one of the funniest movies in years, knock on wood, but there's like almost like this A24 neon aura around it that feels like a little surreal. That is really intriguing. And I just want to see this movie. Oh my gosh, it just looks so fun.
Yeah, this is definitely on my list. This is one I hope to get to see. If not in theaters, certainly when it's on streaming. Tim Robinson, I think he's like a space alien, came down to Earth and became a comedian. Like he's so unique in the way he writes comedy and the way he performs it. I just think he's so wholly unique. And yeah, before Paul Rudd had abs and was like an action star, he was pretty much known as a comedy guy. So it's kind of fun to see Paul Rudd back in his roots, so to speak, here. So I look forward to this one greatly.
I don't even like off the top of my head when I think of Paul Rudd outside of the Marvel universe, I think I just think of Anchorman. And there's a clip that I've seen where is he in that like, oh, you know how I know you're gay? I think that's him, but I don't know what movie that is.
Yeah, it's 40-year-old virgin.
Oh, I've seen most of that movie. It's pretty good. I could watch the whole thing if some point. Oh, I Love You, Man. That's a fun movie. Let's go on with Jason Segel. However you say his name, whatever his name is. I don't watch Tim Robinson's shows, but I've seen the skits on YouTube from time to time. My all-time favorite is the drive-through one. He goes, "Hold on, I'm doing something." Liam, did I lose you? Are you there? I hope it's just still recording on your end and it's not.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I lost you.
Hi.
I lost you for like 30 seconds. Then.
That was great. What was the last thing you heard?
You were talking about how you don't watch Tim Robinson's show.
Yes. But I have seen clips from his skits. And I think my favorite one is the drive-through one. Where he was like 55 burgers, 55 shakes, 55 fries. Hold on, I'm doing something. That one.
A classic.
Like
a classic, yeah. Yeah, no, I think he's the sketch show is it's pretty they're not all winners, but there's some really, really great ones across there. Like I said, I just think he has a very unique sensibility, and his show Detroiters was really good. It only lasted 2 seasons, but it's a good solid sitcom watch.
It's not on the list for some reason. Maybe I don't know when it comes out, but how about The Smashing Machine with The Rock? Because that's October. That's why. I will throw it in. Why not? Who knows? Who knows when we're going to do this again? All right, so The Smashing Machine, I think I've seen half a trailer. There's a certain point where I don't want the trailer to tell me too much. There's a movie coming out at the end of the summer called Honey Don't. And I was like, look, great cast. Looks kind of intriguing. And the moment the trailer was like, here's the conflict, I'm like, nope, nope. I'm going to be surprised. Let the movie tell me what it is. So I think I'm pretty sure I did it when this trailer released as well for the Smashing Machine. But interesting seeing Dwayne Johnson leave wrestling and then be in a movie where he plays a wrestler.
Yeah, I think Dwayne wants to win an Oscar, and you're not going to do that in Fast and Furious movies. So I am excited because I don't feel like Dwayne has gotten out of his comfort zone in like probably more than 10 years now as far as his acting roles. He is like in the style of Arnold or Sly Stallone or any of those 80s action stars, he just has played himself in everything. And the characters all have different names, but nobody knows the names of his character in Skyscraper or his character in Rampage or his character in Fast and Furious or his character in Jumanji because he's just playing Dwayne Johnson. So like to see him like trying to put a voice on and actually act in a movie directed by one of, but not both, the Safdie brothers. I'm like, all right, for an A24 flick, I think I am interested to see if Dwayne's got anything in the can to show us that we either haven't seen before or at least haven't seen since he was a younger man and used to take maybe a few more risks with his acting roles because I would love to be surprised by old Dwayne here. So I doubt it, but I'd like to see it. So yeah, this is why that's kind of on my radar. This is going to be the movie that tells me whether or not Dwayne has any juice beyond just playing himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I may see it. Maybe I'll actually watch the trailer for the full because I'm not a wrestling guy. But if his story looks interesting enough, I'll check it out. Like I went to go see the Iron Claw and thought that was a uh, kind of a horrific experience, but a great movie. Um,
The real life story is worse.
yeah, the movie is the feel good version of that.
Yeah, as far as this goes, so this is a
But
biography of a UFC fighter. So it is about a real fighter and not a wrestler in this case, but certainly seems like it's along
oh, I
among
didn't
those
know
same
that.
lines. Yeah, so it's about a real life guy. So he's playing. So that's the other part of it. It's a biopic. So it's not just Dwayne trying to invent a character all his own. It's him trying to emulate, if not impersonate, to at least emulate the energy of a real person who lived, 20, 30 years ago. So I think the guy's still alive,
Mhm.
but yeah, like that to me is another wrinkle of like, can he play a real person and not and not a complete work of fiction?
He is still alive. It says Wikipedia says that he's 56. Mark Kerr. Yeah, maybe I will wind up going to see this. I'm looking at The Rock's, Dwayne's IMDb right now, and it's basically the most notable thing on here is he did a voice for Fortnite Chapter 2. Um, and I, do you like any Dwayne Johnson movies? Because I am a Fast Five stan. And also, way back when, I did enjoy The Rundown with him and Sean William Scott in 2003, I believe.
Yeah, I'd have to think about because again, a lot of them run together. I've seen probably a couple of the Fast and Furiouses. I've seen, I may have seen part of Skyscraper. But yeah, I can. There's a movie he did kind of just before he became the biggest action star on the planet called, I think it's called Faster, where he's playing
Yeah.
like a dad whose son gets like framed for drug trafficking and sent to prison, and he ends up getting kind of pulled into the web. And that was interesting because again, it was like a little bit outside of the zone of him just being, you know, himself. So
Mm.
I remember liking that a little bit. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but I think Omar from The Wire is in that.
Uh, shit, what's his name?
He's passed away now, but
Yeah. Omar from The Wire, actor. Michael Kenneth Williams.
that's right. Yeah.
I knew it was a three name. Yeah. What a great actor. Great character.
Yeah, so like this is like I said, this is just kind of why I would love to see Dwayne do something interesting. He had a little cup of coffee back in wrestling over the last couple of years and kind of revitalized his wrestling persona for a certain percentage of that audience, but I would like to see if he could get out of his comfort zone a little bit with this one in between his Fast and Furiouses and Moanas and whatever all the franchise stuff he has to do.
All right. Moving on. Next, we have Fight or Flight. I am interested in this. I think Josh Hartnett is having a lovely little comeback, and while most of his
And yet, you
choices,
coward, you refused to watch Trapped, which was
it's on. I'm gonna watch it eventually.
He was phenomenal in it.
But the movie itself is gonna be bad.
No, it was awesome.
You're in such a minority with that.
I don't think I am. It reviewed pretty well. It was weird, but
You reviewed pretty well. Let's see. I do enjoy letterboxed reviews. I think one of the things I do enjoy about it is that people are just goofy. Like, it's almost not even real reviews. It's just some like the initial emotional response to something, and it might be a joke. Like one of the reviews for Trap is 3.5 stars. This is gonna ruin the tour. That's a pretty good one. 4 stars. You gotta wonder if M. Night Shyamalan has ever had a conversation with a human being.
I'm just it's worth it for the price of admission of how weird Hartnett plays that character. He's so fun to watch in that movie.
Okay, that sounds fun. That is legitimately an intriguing Haley Mills is in this? What the fuck?
I don't know who that is.
Haley Mills was the original Parent Trap. Oh my gosh. I didn't
Yeah,
know she was
she's the FBI agent.
a nothing movie that I won't be watching ever. Even you know what? Gotta be honest, I haven't watched the trailer for it. I'm not gonna watch the movie. Clown in a Cornfield.
It's called what now? You just say this is you can choose whether or not to leave this in. He didn't tell me any of the movies we were going to talk about. He just started saying words. So like half of these I am like at his mercy. He could be telling me movies that don't actually exist, and I could just be like making a fool of myself here, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Amazing.
So I have no comment.
This is a real movie. It's called Clown in a Cornfield. I'm forced to assume that it's gonna live up to the name, but I'm not gonna watch it. It just sounds like some stupid shit. Yeah, and you know what? Here's something interesting about it. Will Sasso is in it. Apparently, he plays the sheriff. So if you loved whatever the fuck that show was called. What's that show called? Mad TV. If you were a Mad TV fan, maybe you can watch it for Will Sasso. And outside of that, we're just gonna move on. Here's another movie I'm not going to watch either. Is Hurry Up Tomorrow, which comes out I think later this week. But I don't. Have you heard anything about this movie?
I have not.
So I've heard very little. What I do know is that it's a movie starring The Weeknd, and it is supposed to be like a visual narrative companion to his upcoming album. And I gotta say, knowing that, I kind of care a little bit less about about seeing this movie. I just don't give a shit about The Weeknd and what he might have going on, and like I kind of feel like if I watch this movie, I'm then gonna be obligated to listen to an album I don't want to listen to. and I just won't enjoy either. So I'm just avoiding it. I'm avoiding that train before we even reach the station.
I concur. I have no further comments.
And here's a movie you're not going to care about, but I'm hopefully going to see it in a couple days, is Final Destination Bloodlines. That franchise is kind of shit. but the first movie surprisingly good. Even now, even though it's 25 years old, it is like for the teen horror franchise way back when, it's still really fun. It's got Devon Sawa, who was Stan, literally. Yeah, no, it's pretty solid. The sequel is fine. The sequel, I'm assuming you've seen none of these movies, Liam.
Correct.
Okay, so the sequel has, interestingly enough, the sequel, the second one, has probably the most famous scene of any of them, which is the highway scene.
Oh, with the logs?
Yes, exactly. Everyone knows that scene. There's advertising for this movie on logging trucks on the highway. That's how memorable that scene is. I was listening to a commentary over the movies earlier, like a compilation thing, and they were talking about how so many stupid fucking horror movies are like, this movie will do for home invasions what Jaws did for the beaches and dumb shit like that. Like, no, this is a bad movie. Stop like hyping it up this way. And the guy was saying that, like, I think Final Destination 2 did for driving what Jaws did for beaches. Like, you see a log truck and you're gonna fucking move for sure. Like, I'm gonna distance myself because I'm like, I will not let that happen to me. We're gonna get out of here. If I recall, the third movie is kind of watchable. The fourth movie is garbage. The fifth movie, a C plus in this franchise, and the ending is actually really, really good. Like, there's some really great drama in that movie, and the ending brings it all together nicely. And I hope this one doesn't suck. There's a solid chance it will. It's like the Saw franchise where 7 movies and you're like, well, what are they going to do now? I have to watch it because how nuts are we going to get? And that's kind of where I'm at with this. Like, somehow movie 5 was decent enough to watch and rewatch at some point. This one, we'll see. But I'm going to see it in the theater. I'm trying to see more movies in the theater, and I think this one will, like, if I don't see it in the theater, then it'll take me a long time to see it, and I think the theater would be the place to see it. So I'm gonna grab a buddy and see that, I think, on Friday. But I really hope it doesn't suck. I don't want to waste that money. Anyway, yeah, thanks for listening to that. Now, here's a movie where I'm going to pay extra money to see it in IMAX, and there's such a slim chance that it won't be worth it. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Just sidestepping the stupid fucking name. Instead of being Dead Reckoning Part 2, they just decided to change it. So now the first one, or the previous movie, now the title doesn't make any stupid fuck sense. Anyway, I'm really excited about it. This franchise has my heart. It really does. It's the last great movie star, Tom Cruise.
He is the only one left that, like, we don't really know. I mean, we know some things about him. But we don't know.
You mean he's crazier than a rocking chair?
Yeah, but that's what's great about it. And, like, he's never gonna do like a vlog. You know, he's never going to take us through a day in his life because his days are filled with, I can only assume, eyes wide shut style orgies mixed with.
What up, cruisers? It's your boy Tom.
Exactly. That will never happen. There's an air of separation between him and us, his audience, that will always be there, which is why he still feels like he has power and like gravitas to him that a lot of modern actors don't. I mean, I think there's other
It's
people in
true.
his generation, but like guys like Clooney and Pitt have kind of moved into either supporting roles or into doing more artsy stuff, producing. He's the one that's still out there like, no, I'm the star of this. I'm a you can still build a franchise around me, even though he's like 70. Like he's incredible.
Yeah.
And it, I mean, think about how incredible you have to be like as a weirdo and as an interesting actor to get away with all the crook stuff he's probably done. So, allegedly for legal reasons. Um
Yeah,
yeah,
of
but
course.
yes, I drift in and out on the Mission Impossibles, but if I hear this one is great. I know they're like teasing that it might be the end, which I feel like it can't be because what is he gonna do after this?
Did you see the last one, the previous one?
No, I think the most recent one I saw was the Henry Cavill one.
Oh, so good. I Fallout, like, next to, I mean, some of them are just really really good. I think Fallout might be one of my favorite action movies of all time, even above 1 and 3. Um, but Dead Reckoning has Haley Atwell, and it's not a spoiler, but I think they've also done it in probably like interviews and stuff. But I think they're like setting up for Haley Atwell to kind of take over for Tom Cruise. I don't know how I feel about that because I don't know what Mission Impossible is without Tom Cruise being like, it would be awesome if I just fell out of a plane and just put a camera on me, because apparently he did that in this movie. Like, again, who else is doing that at all? It feels like it's really just Tom Cruise. Um, so we'll see what happens after this one, and it's like after this movie, it is just a huge we'll see. Um, but I am a sucker for the Mission Impossible. Have you seen all of them up to Fallout?
No, I don't. I'd have to look at them to see like which ones I've seen and haven't seen, but I generally have
That's
enjoyed the ones I've seen. But I think that's to this franchise's credit is that you can kind of drift in and out,
a little
and
bit.
you can like it invites, I think, new viewers or lapsed viewers to come along better than maybe some of the other movies that are on their ninth movie or however many they've done of Mission Impossibles. Like it's hard to like have that feel accessible to new viewers, but it feels like you could have seen none of them and you could probably go see this new one and like figure out what's going on in about 5 minutes. And I mean that as a compliment.
Probably.
There's good guys
Yeah.
and there's bad guys and they're sneaking around and they're wearing masks and they're falling out of planes. Like you can pick that up just on the vibes, even if you're not as super invested in the lore.
Yeah. That's definitely true for nearly all of them. So the Final Reckoning is movie number 8 now. Yeah, because Fallout was 6. The so let's see. It's funny you said that you'd have to look to see which ones that you've seen. Not necessarily that itself is funny in my mind, but I have to do that to be like, which one is this? Because after 3, they all have just names. Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol. Like, I don't remember which one is which. I have to look at who's in it and be like, oh, this is the one with Jeremy Renner. Oh, this is the one with Rebecca Ferguson. Like, that's how I keep track. At this point, Fallout just happens to stand out spectacularly because Henry Cavill, and it's just got some of the coolest shit in any movie ever. And I fucking love all of it. Yeah, he's done a lot of shit over the years. Like, it's mostly been Mission Impossible, Top Gun, The Mummy, and Edge of Tomorrow, which is a really solid movie. But he's mostly just been Mission Impossible for like the last 20 years. That's been most of it. But But I'm such a sucker for these movies at this point. And I had checked out for years where I just wasn't watching. I didn't really care. And then it was probably 4 years ago. Fallout was on Hulu or something, and I was like, "Well, it's yeah, sure, why not?" And I put it on, and like at home, I was on the edge of my seat, having such a good time enjoying that movie. And then I was like, "Well, now I gotta watch all of these, except number two, because number two is an embarrassment to film." Such a good time. All right, can move on after that, I think. Lilo and Stitch. I don't have many words except I can't stand that this is a movie again. Uh, it just looks so bad, and like I was never partial to the original. To be transparent, but I hate this. I really do. Like this is hopefully the tail end of the Disney live action remakes, and I hope this is the one that kills it. I fucking hate it. It's so ugly. It's not funny. It's not cute. I can't stand it.
You broke up when you said the name of the movie. What is? You went on like a 3.5 minute diatribe about how you hate Disney movies, and the only thing I missed was the title of the movie you're talking about. Would have been maybe helpful for you to text me a list of the movies we were talking about before this started. But let's just keep going.
You know what? Here, let me. I'll share this with you.
It's too late now.
Well, for future, you can at least see what I'm like going down. But it's the Lilo and Stitch live action remake is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, it looked cute.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the original movie. I haven't. These Disney remakes aren't for me. They're for children and for parents who saw the originals who want to take their kids to something that is familiar to them. So it's not. I'm not the target demographic for these, but it looked fine.
Yeah. There's another channel that I enjoy, YMS, and he was saying how enjoyable the movie would be if Stitch was just Danny DeVito. But everyone around him didn't behave like it was Danny, like behaved as it was actually Stitch. But for all intents and purposes, it's Danny DeVito, and I would 100% spend money to see that movie. That sounds fantastic.
I mean, I would always say yes to more Danny DeVito. Who would?
Exactly. Next up, coming at the end of May, is Karate Kid Legends. And I'm gonna commit a cinema sin here. I think I've seen the first Karate Kid maybe when I was a kid, and none of it since then. I kind of don't care about that franchise. It's not a part of my childhood. It's like, oh, it's a great '80s movie, and that's really it. I just don't care about that one.
Yeah, I definitely saw the original and maybe the second one like when I was a kid, but I feel like if I did it was one time. And then there's a third one which I don't think is particularly very well liked, and then there was a reboot in the 2000s. And then I know there's this show which I think started off as a YouTube show and then turned into a Netflix show, the Cobra Kai show, which is apparently people love that. And then they're doing a movie now where the Jackie Chan guy from the reboot meets the guy from the original movies, not the trainer from the original movie because that guy's been dead for like 30 years, but
it's Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, Ralph Macchio, the man who will always have a boy's face, Ralph Macchio.
Yeah,
and Jackie Chan are hanging out, and that's fine. Maybe if you're really into the Cobra Kai show or you watch those movies religiously when you were a kid, I'm sure this means a lot to you. It's like, yeah, it's just like I said. I think I saw the first two one time each, and I don't remember a lot of them. So, go with God. I bear no ill will, but I will not be seeing this.
Also, the movie stars. He's not on the poster. Is he on the poster? He's not listed on the poster. No, he's not on the poster. Joshua Jackson, who was Charlie in The Mighty Ducks.
Nice.
Yeah, good for him. Next up is The Phoenician Scheme. It's a Wes Anderson movie, and I am pretty torn on it, honestly. What about you?
I really loved Asteroid City. That's a movie that like
Okay.
grew on me as the further away I've gotten from it, the more I think about it. There's specific scenes in that I think are really, really great. So with that in mind, I probably will see this again. I'm not sure if I would rush out to theaters because I think when I watched Asteroid City, I just watched it at home. It doesn't feel like a big like you need surround sound and a giant screen to appreciate what works about this is always the one. I think it's always fun because you get all of these massively famous people doing like little quirky side character bits, which I always think is fun. It's fun to see like Liev Schreiber and Scarlett Johansson playing like these tiny supporting roles and things as opposed to being the main stars of the things. So it's like they always everybody in this movie is like, wow, that's a really like this person's in it for 5 minutes. It's wild that they got someone that famous to do this role, but it's good. And then I know this new one has Michael Cera in it, and he just seems like tailor made for a Wes Anderson movie. So it's honestly shocking it's taken this long. So yeah, I think I will definitely see this. I don't think I'm going to rush out for theaters unless unless it really reviews well, but I think based on the strength, in my opinion, of his last movie, that I would probably go for this one as well.
I think I'm with you. In that, I think I'll see this for Michael Cera, probably. I'm not a huge Wes Anderson guy. I think the Fantastic Mr. Fox is a pretty great movie. The Grand Budapest Hotel, I will say, is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I adore that movie. And then other pieces of his that I've seen, just didn't speak to me. And so I don't rush out to be like, oh, cool, new Wes Anderson. I'm like, oh, look, it's another Wes Anderson movie. Like I think I've missed his last probably 3 movies just because it just doesn't grab me in the same way. But I do want to see Michael Cera in that kind of niche, eclectic, or a eccentric character style that tends to be in a Wes Anderson. So I think that'll do it for me. I think, and I do like Benicio del Toro, but yeah, I think it is. I think it's going to be Michael Cera. It's going to be the clincher, I think. But we'll see. I also feel like maybe I'm going to miss that one entirely. Like, it's in theaters? I suppose I could go see it. Although looking at that stretch of releases during that time, it doesn't look like there's anything else around it that I'm going to be busy watching instead. The following week is Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff with Ana de Armas, or I butchered that name, I think. I'm so sorry. I always feel really confident. Like when I do this show, I'm always really confident about a name until I'm about to say it. And then a lot of times I'll just opt not to say it, or I just try to be very careful about it and just and murder it.
In my experience, in my podcasting experience, you just say it how you think it's going to be saying, and then you apologize immediately afterwards, and you just push right on through.
Yep. So we have from the world of John Wick is Ballerina, and I think the man himself, Keanu Reeves, is going to be in it for a little bit. Sorry, Keanu, for that butchering of your name. But I'm going to skip this one. I do like Ana de Armas. That sounds so wrong saying it like that, and I'm pretty sure I've always said it that way. Anyway, I do like her. I think for a fair amount of things that I've seen, she has been the reason where I watched whatever it was. But I don't give a fuck about John Wick. I was never on that train. If I want something John Wick-esque, I will watch the spiritual cousin of it, written by the same dude, Nobody. I will watch that way before I watch John Wick. I've only seen the first John Wick. I thought it was fine, and then I just don't care. I just Keanu Reeves has been a part of some of the greatest action movies of all time, namely The Matrix, and I have a soft spot for Point Break. But I don't care. I don't care about John Wick. I really don't. Like, it's good for you doing like your own stunts. I think Keanu Reeves himself, fantastic. I just don't get excited about this stuff, about this movie.
Yeah, it's not. I've kind of just never. I didn't watch the first one when it came out, and then by the time they were on like 3 or 4, I was like, I think this has gotten away from me. I don't think I'm gonna. And for whatever reason, I have like a little friend group that I go see a lot of movies with. None of them seem particularly psyched about John Wick either. So they've never. That's the other way I see movies. I'm not really that interested in is if they, sit me down and make me watch something. So yeah, I like this. I mean, they're all sort of aping, you know, the kung fu and like gun fu movies of like Hong Kong cinema and stuff like that. I know that. I know I really loved Monkey Man, which is not done by the John Wick guys. That was done by directed and starring Dev Patel. That's my favorite of these of the last few years, this type of movie. But hey, the John Wick stuff is very popular. So yeah, again, it's just I feel like it's passed me by and I missed the train. So I don't know. Maybe I would love them if I watched them, but I don't really plan on sitting down and watching them anytime soon.
Yeah. Basically it's it. I also was surrounded for a long time by like red-blooded Americans who are really into gun stuff. And they would say, "Oh yeah, the gun stuff, like it's so cool that Keanu Reeves did all his own training and like he's actually like a really good gun handler and stuff." And again, I'm like, good for you. That's really cool. It's a skill I do not have. Probably never will. But gun skills, a good movie does not make. Like it adds a dose of realism for the people who notice that kind of thing. The movie Heat has this huge shootout in the middle of a city, and there's a couple things that people in that realm, military, cops and whatever, they'll notice like, yep, gunfire in a city actually sounds like that. There's a scene where Val Kilmer does a quick reload, and apparently they show that during Marine Corps training, and like that action, and the drill sergeant will look at the recruits and he'll say 93% of you will never reload anything that fast in your entire career. So it's stuff like that, like I think is kind of fun, but that's not the reason to watch Heat. It's it's love and Interstellar. Love is not admissible evidence. Like, I don't give a fuck if it's accurate. You're not making my movie experience better. Like, Star Wars isn't a good movie because it was accurate in any way. Like, it was a good, compelling story. Draw me in that way, please. And I'm saying this also realizing that 40 minutes ago I was talking about how much I want to go see Final Destination, which is going to be a dumb, stupid movie. But anyway, I digress. The next couple movies on the list, I don't even know what they are. I know what The Ritual is, but I am very I'm I am less interested in seeing that than I am for Ballerina, and therefore less interested in talking about it. So, next one down that at least has a name to it is the live action How to Train Your Dragon. You have thoughts on that one?
I mean, see also my thoughts on live action Disney. That I
Yeah.
said 5 minutes ago. Not for me. I didn't see the original. I have no nostalgia for it. I can imagine if you were 15 when that movie came out in theaters and now you're 30 and you have kids of your own, this might be very exciting for you, and I'm sure the kids will like it. But it means basically I know these movies are popular. They've made like 4 or 5 of the animated ones, so uh, you know,
Yeah, they
I know
make a
I know
lot.
they have an audience. I am not included in there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I've seen the first one, and I think that's it. My friend Brian, who you know, loves those movies. I don't know if he's seen all of them, but when we all lived in the same town, he would talk about how great they are. And I enjoyed it, but I'm very wary of any time something animated gets converted to live action. There's something that's lost there, and like even something as small as like the whimsy of it, because it's a fun, comical, goofy goofy movie. And I think once you love something like that and you're so like in depth and familiar with a property, and then it's changed in a pretty fundamental way, it's hard to appreciate that leap and make it work. So I will hold out hope. If that friend tells me that it's good and watch it, I may go and watch it, but I'm pretty doubtful. It's kind of like The Last of Us. Like there's a certain scene in the game, the second one, that got made it to the TV version, and I've seen that scene, and yeah, I just prefer the game one. Like I'm not making any rush to watch season 2 episodes. I don't know. Now, part of that maybe is because I'm too close to it. Like I'm playing that game now, whereas it was 10 plus years between playing the first game and the first season of the show, so there was plenty of distance there. But I don't know. It's hard to go from especially an animated style into live action. That's a huge risk that I'm very unsure of.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna be a
mean,
lot of money though.
as someone who hosts a podcast exclusively about superhero cartoons, yeah,
Yeah.
I think there is something to be said
Nerd.
for shut up, the need for both. You can adapt these characters into live action, but you can't, or you shouldn't, in my opinion, try to do a one-to-one recreation, because for the exact reasons you're saying, because animation you can do things that you just can't do. It's like I will often hear people say that, which I agree with. Like the best Batman movie ever made is an animated one, in my opinion. It's Mask of the Phantasm. And I've
Right.
heard people say like they would love to see that story translated to live action. I was like, I don't think it works. Like how broody and the architecture that's drawn into that movie and everything about the visual style of it, you can't recreate that one for one in live action. You can do a story that involves similar characters that maybe tells a similar story, but you just one-to-one adaptation from animation to live action. I don't think it's a good idea, because they're fundamentally different mediums, and like visually need kind of different direction to to be
Yeah.
interesting.
There's also the cost of comparison as well. Because you have this title that already exists. Same thing with Lilo and Stitch and every other fucking remake, sequel, whatever adaptation. You have people who are going to experience this new thing, and in the back of their mind, or even at the front of their mind, they're thinking, oh, they did that differently. I don't really like that. Because they're comparing it constantly against what they've already known for years. And there's always a thought that I have, especially you bring up Mask of the Phantasm. No, don't make that a live action, because what already exists is already really good. We don't need this other thing for like a new crowd or whatever, or reaching a new audience. No, if the original thing is that good, then it should hold up in certain ways so that you can still translate that. And especially the art direction for that era of Batman, to harp on that more. You're not making that into a live action thing. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get it. Like, the closest maybe is Matt Reeves' Batman, but even that, it's too different. It's too different.
Yeah. I think that's something, even fundamentally, I think what you hit on with comparing it to the past work, which you inevitably are going to do. That's one of the things recently some of the people, including the head producer that worked on that original animated series and on Mask of the Phantasm, did a new show that ended up going on to Amazon. It's a Batman show. It has a similar sort of 1930s aesthetic to it. The art style is similar. Character designs are somewhat similar, but it's not a sequel to the old show. And one of the things that Bruce Timm, who created, who co-created that world, said was, I'm not just competing with what I used to do. I would be competing with people's nostalgia for a thing I did 30 years ago. And like what you remember, like you're not just comparing them as, okay, this story did this story did that, the visuals were this, the visuals were that. You're thinking, this 30 years ago when I was 10 years old made me feel this. And when I see that old thing, I still feel a little bit of that, whatever that emotion was at the time in me. So now when you watch the new thing, you are inevitably, like you said, going to compare it not just to the pluses and minuses of a different medium. You're comparing it to how the old thing makes you feel, and how is the new one going to make you feel the same way. And if it doesn't, then is it because it's worse, or is it because you're in your 30s now? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's so many factors at play when you try to make any kind of direct sequel or direct adaptation of an older work like that, especially one that is so beloved. So, good luck to anyone that, it's a good paying gig, I am sure, to do these live action adaptations of these classic animated films, but it's not an enviable task either.
Yeah, and remakes and adaptations inherently have that problem of comparison, where even the filmmakers will sometimes say, oh, we wanted to make it different, but like pay homage to what came before us. But if you're gonna make it different, then call it something different. Like, it's there are so few movies where something shares the title and deserves to share the title. But if they made it a different name, no one would go see it because it sucks. But the name was enough to get them to buy a ticket. Like, there's so few things. Like, maybe one of the few examples of a remake that I actually think is a pretty good movie is Dawn of the Dead, which shares enough similarities of George Romero's. There's a mall and there's zombies, but plenty of things are super different. But I think it works. Like, it's not a particular, it's not an amazing movie, but it's pretty fucking good. But generally speaking, stop doing that. Like, it's so many times we'll hear, oh, did you hear that they're remaking this? And my first thought is, why? Like, we don't, like, it's literally just to make more money and to prey on the nostalgia of people our age and older. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna suck. Like, I can see so many things that are already going to suck. Like, just stop fucking, like, there's a movie on this list we didn't talk about, Juliet and Romeo. Cool, because we needed another one of those. Uh,
That feels a little
I
different.
can't.
Like, I think something like a Shakespeare play that's been adapted and readapted a trillion times in a trillion ways is a little more ripe for a new interpretation as opposed to, you know, Star Wars 15 or something. There's more to mine from that, I would say. But yeah, either way.
So to speak to that one specifically, it is apparently a musical based on the real story of Romeo and Juliet that the play is based on. Different, but the same.
Sounds a little bit unique.
Yeah.
Sounds like a new fun take. They broke new ground.
Sounds like it's going to suck. I will say one movie that absolutely will make me eat my words is The Thing, which John Carpenter's The Thing, which in and of itself is a remake of what is it called? That's right, 1938 novella Who Goes There, which became a movie that I cannot remember the name of. It was like The Thing from Outer Space or something like that. The Thing from Another World, which then became The Thing. Yeah. So there are definitely exceptions to me thinking something is a piece of shit for sure, but just so many examples where some studio makes an announcement and people around me are like, "Oh, I can't wait for this," and I'm just like, "Why? Did you watch like? Did you pay attention to the announcement? Because this sucks. I hate this. This is terrible. I can't. I hate it all." After that, coming out June 20th, is a movie I'm very excited for. 28 Years Later. And I'm assuming you haven't seen any of those movies.
Nope.
The first one is really good. The second one is kind of watchable. But the third one, the newer one, or the new one, totally, is there's a litmus test for previewing the quality of a movie is what the marketing says about it. And the marketing says that it's a reunion of the original filmmakers, which is Danny Boyle and Anthony Dodd Mantle. So the original people who made 28 Days Later was Danny Boyle, Anthony Dodd Mantle, who filmed it, and Alex Garland. And then they put together the idea for a sequel, and someone else made it, and it was kind of okay. And now the original filmmakers are back for this one. And what's interesting about it is that no one is talking about they shot it on an iPhone. And what I love about that, because no one's talking about it, speaks to the quality of the rest of it. Because anytime I hear someone go, "Oh, and it was shot on an iPhone," that's a reason for me to think the movie is better. It probably means it sucks, but for the novelty of doing something different, it must be better or worth experiencing or whatever, which is not the case and I know that because I was in the first movie ever shot on an iPhone, and it's a piece of shit. I had Amazon Prime, so I could watch it. I tried to find my scenes. I'm in it for 2.5 seconds. It's none of it was worth finding. But there's certain movies that Steven Soderbergh's Unsane was shot on an iPhone. It's a really good movie, but when people talk about why it's a good movie, they barely mention it was shot on an iPhone. So it's like saying, "Oh, this is from the producer of that one movie that made some money." That's cool. Who the fuck are the rest of the people who made this movie? I don't care what the producer did. He slapped his name on it so he can grab a paycheck. Good for him. It won't be my money. But 28 years. Let me bring up. It's got Aaron Taylor Johnson in his. I feel like he hasn't been in anything in a while. Jodie Comer is in it, and Jack O'Connell, who I like. He's in Sinners, so you'll get to see him in another way. Oh yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I forgot that he was also. I'm saying shit like he hasn't been in movies in 15 years, but he was just in Bullet Train, Nosferatu, and The Fall Guy. So there is that. So I guess he's still doing stuff, and I just haven't been watching that closely, I suppose. But I'm excited for this movie. It is a sequel a long time after the last one was good. So again, I really hope it's good. I'm ready for a actual scary zombie movie. It's a movie where I haven't watched anything but the first teaser trailer. Except for when I was at the movies last week, I was forced to sit through the previews for that. So, but I have otherwise intentionally gone without looking at any marketing for it because I want the movie to tell me what it is as I'm sitting in the auditorium. So
Hope it works out.
thanks, pal. And then we have M3gan 2.0, Megan with a 3. We can move on. After that, in early July, for some reason, even though the other one wasn't that long ago, we have Jurassic World Rebirth. You want to talk about this one?
I haven't seen any Jurassic Park movies, I don't think, in full. Maybe the first one. I think I've seen the first one on.
Wait, really?
I think I've seen the first one on TV, maybe. But I don't know if I've ever sat down and watched it all the way.
Good God.
But that being said, I like Gareth Edwards a lot. I think he is a good director and he's good at establishing scale. So I think he could be good for a movie that has a bunch of giant creatures flying around in it. But yeah, I don't have any affinity for Jurassic Parks or worlds or what have yous. So you know,
So, because it's Gareth Edwards, do you think you're going to watch this one?
no.
That's I respect that. I really do. I'm gonna do everything in my power to skip this one as well. I didn't see the last one. Jurassic Park was a part of my childhood, and this year I read the book, and the day after I finished it, I did the audiobook, and it was probably the greatest audiobook I've ever heard. I can't remember who read it out loud, but they acted their ass off, and it was incredibly compelling. And also, Michael Crichton, I gotta give a lot of credit. If you can make science jargon and a lot of made up shit sound really interesting to a dum-dum like me, that got a C in high school chemistry for class participation. So awesome. But I put on the movie the next day, and it's just so fucking good. I watch Jurassic Park maybe once a year the last 4 years, and each time it's just fantastic. So, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then I skipped I find the Jurassic World trilogy pretty offensive, just in its existence as a whole. I skipped the last one. I didn't want to subject myself to it, so I'm going to skip this one too. I hate everything about it. I can't stand it. But I think we'll have a fair amount. Well, you'll have a fair amount to say about this one. Liam, I'd have to thank you. You are carrying this episode, I think. But next is James Gunn's Superman. And because I think you'll have better things to say about it and more well thought out things to say about it than I'll get my piece out of the way first. That way we can get into enjoying what you have to say. I am pretty intrigued by this one. As someone who really doesn't care about Superman, in a pop culture time, the last 15, 20 years, where Superman really hasn't had anything good to do, and he hasn't had really any good movies. Um, Strictly speaking, I am very interested in this. I'm very curious to because I like James Gunn. I don't think he's amazing, but he's made enough movies that I really enjoy, that I really want to see what he has to do with this. And I think DC might be at a point where they're trying new things, praying that something will work. And they've shown that, there is plenty of promise to be had. The Batman was a really fucking good movie. Um, and I've seen the first trailer for Superman and the opening of the new trailer, which you sent to me. And I thought it was really adorable for him to be interviewed as Superman just in the apartment. I think that's really cute. Um, yes, I'm gonna try to see this in theater. I think it'll be a pretty fun experience, and hopefully, unlike every other Superman movie that I have sat through in my life, which is only the modern ones.
Yeah, so I don't want to overstate this, but all of my positive mental health is tied into this being a good movie. I've decided this recently. Yeah, I really want this to be great. Superman is
If
my
I, if I may jump in real quick, is Superman your favorite superhero? Because I remember years ago, you and I exchanged Christmas sweaters, and you gave me a Batman one because it was awesome, and I gave you a Superman one. And thankfully, that was your preference because I didn't want the Superman one. But would you say Superman is your favorite superhero?
yes. Yeah, he is. I don't think he always was, but as I've gotten older, I think the optimism of the character is something that speaks to me as someone who maybe doesn't have that trait naturally, but wishes I did. Um, I think that's a big part, and I also just I think there's a comic book writer named Grant Morrison who's done a very seminal work called All Star Superman. And his thing that he kept kind of harping on, which what makes Superman great, it's not the powers and the cape and all that. It's that a guy who would have all of that power and like be a good guy. Like that is the fun of it, and which is funny because that is the thing I think that makes Superman seem boring to a lot of people, but it's the thing that I kind of love about the character. And when you talk about making the character relatable, again, to kind of paraphrase this writer Grant Morrison's quote, it's like Superman is like one of the more relatable heroes, I think, in the sense that he's just like a guy trying to do the right thing, and he's got, I guess, in this movie, it's like a girlfriend, and he's got a dog, and maybe he takes his dog for walks like around the rings of Saturn instead of down the street, but he is one of the more relatable heroes, or at least he could be, and has been in other mediums. I don't know that we've ever seen a version of that Superman on screen in live action. So I would really like to see a Superman. I think the most interesting thing you can do, especially in light of The Boys and Invincible, and there's a lot of evil Superman or what if Superman was a dick stories over the last like 15 years, especially. Like they've been very. So I think the most subversive, interesting thing you could do with Superman is make a movie about a guy who is genuinely kind and wants to help people. And as it seems to imply in the trailer, that might mean he makes a decision that the rest of the world doesn't like. And then that's the other thing of like a guy who could do all of these things, taking having to take into account, okay, when do I act, when do I not act, and that sort of thing. So it's not just about like, oh, he's impervious and nothing can hurt him. It's like, yeah, but the things he struggles with might be more existential. They could be more philosophical as far as his choices to intervene in places in the world where there's wars or famines or whatever, and when he does and doesn't, and how does that weigh on him, I think can be interesting. I think they kind of started to touch on that in the Zack Snyder Superman stuff, but they made the character much more ambivalent than I would like. I think he doesn't seem to really care other than, his own personal little circle of like his mom and Lois Lane in those movies. And I don't dislike those movies, but that version of Superman doesn't really seem to care about people in a way that I think is kind of inherent to that character. And I think that's maybe the difference here, because I think you could look at this trailer, the new trailers for Superman, and see like this feels kind of thematically similar to stuff that was touched on in Batman v Superman and other media that's tackled Superman before. But it's like the thing I think that needs to be there is that at the heart of it, it needs to just be a guy who cares and a guy who wants to help, and he's not always going to be perfect. Doesn't mean he's perfect at it and he always does the right thing, but you can always tell that what he's doing is coming from like a morally upright place. And I think that's what I'm hoping for. Like I want a Superman who's just like a good guy who wants to help. And we'll see. I would really love this to be great. I would love for there to be a great Superman movie, like definitively great in my lifetime. This would be really cool if it was great.
If it is a good movie, do you think you'll see it 3 or 4 times in theaters?
Gosh, I don't know, because this is the first movie in a long time, because I'm far out of the like see it opening night or see it at, I mean, they do like early screening
Oh
now. You
yeah.
don't have to literally go at midnight anymore, but like, even like, but this is one where I was
Yep.
like, kind of want to be there the first night it's in theaters, which I haven't thought about a movie in a really long time, maybe since Avengers 2. I don't know. Like it's been or Avengers Endgame. It's been a long time since I've been like this jazzed about getting like I just want to
the,
see it.
the greatest Avengers movie, Age of Ultron.
I think half of that movie is good. That's a topic for another day.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
and yeah, but yeah, so this is I really would love for this to be good, and it means a lot to me because the character means a lot to me, and just because, like I said, I think there really hasn't been in our lifetime. I think for people maybe our parents' age, the Chris Reeve movies are pretty definitive as a Superman story for them, and I like those movies. But
Mm.
they felt, even when I was a kid watching them, they felt like a relic of previous era to me. So like I would
Yeah.
really love to see a modern great Superman film. So fingers crossed, everybody.
I like I said, as someone who isn't very much invested in Superman, I think it'd be great if he finally had a good movie, because all that I have are the modern ones, which are kind of almost watchable at best. Like man, what the fuck is that movie called? Man of Steel. Is boring as hell to me. Like it's just very uninteresting. And Superman is, to my understanding, I think would do a lot extra to prevent as much collateral damage and death and destruction as happens in his current movies. And yeah, I also think he would care more about people uh, than just worrying about one woman. Uh, Also, I'm really excited for the possibility of a Lois Lane that I don't hate, because I really hate Lois Lane in these modern movies. I don't like her at all. She irritates the hell out of me. And I like Amy Adams. And there's my contribution. I know what you did last summer. We didn't need another one. We can skip it. Um, the Naked Gun. I don't know how I feel. It's one of those things where I feel like, could we just let it die with how it is? Like, we have the 3 good movies.
Yeah, I think this is like I think Seth MacFarlane, I don't know if he's directing this or just producing it, but it feels like he wanted to do something in the style of it. But it's again what we've already talked about. It is an IP driven world, and people have heard of the Naked Gun before, even though it's a franchise that hasn't been relevant in really most of our lifetime. There's an executive somewhere
Yeah.
that goes, if you call it, Bob Johnson Fart Detective or whatever Seth MacFarlane might want to call it, no one goes to see that. But if you call it the Naked Gun Reborn or whatever, then maybe some people go to see that. And I will say the little teaser gag they put out, I thought it looked all right. I think Liam Neeson lends himself to that sort of comedy where you're playing it very straight and you just let the absurdity kind of speak for itself because of how ridiculous the situation is. So I don't think I'm going to rush out and see this, but it looked, like I said, that little teaser they put out it was funnier than I thought than I expected it to be.
And unpopular opinion, my all-time favorite spoof movie is Top Secret with Val Kilmer,
Oh, there you go.
which was his first ever movie, which I found out when I read his book. Anyway, Freakier Friday. Shut the fuck up. Nobody 2. I really like the first one, but I don't know. I'll probably go see it just because I liked the first one. The trailer looked okay. I like Bob Odenkirk a lot. I know he goes all out for whatever he's working on, so that'll be the clincher for me, I think. I don't even know. Is it the same? Let's hold on. Is it the same director? Nobody 2. Because if it's the same director, that will make a difference for me as well. Crew. Timo Tadjanto. What the fuck? Looking at his page, he was involved in the horror short film anthologies VHS2 and VHS 94, one of which is good and one of which is a piece of ass. This is not promising. All right, that might have killed it for me just now. All right, well, maybe I'll just rewatch the first one instead. And ending on a high note, Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Yeah, I think another movie that I'm really hoping to be good. I have a weird relationship because as much of a comic superhero nerd, my Marvel stuff comes more from animation than it does from actual comic books, as opposed to DC, where it's kind of half and half. But I loved the 90s Fantastic Four animated series, and I don't think it would hold up if I went back and watched it now because most of those Marvel shows do not. But I had some affinity. It's more about like the merchandise. It feels like the way that like people maybe 10 years older than us are nostalgic for He-Man is how I feel about or G.I. Joe or Transformers to an extent. Like I have the toys and I watched the cartoon that was basically just an advertisement for the toys. So I would like, yeah, and I have some affinity for the 2000s live action Fantastic Fours. I can't imagine they would be good. Speaking of watching them on a rewatch, but I think that might be the record. And at this point in my life, keeping in mind that I was like 12 when that first one came out, I think I saw the first one in theaters at least 3 times, possibly 4. So, because I don't know, we just kept seeing it. But in various groups, I just kept seeing it. But yeah, I like these characters. I think they're a little bit unique in the Marvel pantheon as far as like the family dynamic that they have going on. Um, Even more so, I think, than the X-Men. I think they're kind of interesting. So I think they have a unique dynamic, and obviously whatever they're doing, and we'll find out when we see the movie as far as like how it relates to the overarching thing. But like, as I love the aesthetic of this, it's like some sort of retro 1960s sci-fi, but also maybe it's the future type look to all the cars and the architecture and the clothes and everything. So this one, I really like this one's vibe. Like I have no idea what the story is going to actually be, and how it's going to connect to the larger Marvel stuff. I mean, we know a little bit, spoiler alert for Thunderbolts, that they're coming from another universe or whatever, but that's really all you know. So, yeah, I am
Which, if you didn't know that, you should have already known that.
yeah, I mean, I feel like by now, statute of limitations says they basically spoiled their own movie in the marketing the week after it came out anyway. So, I don't feel that
It
bad.
did.
But yeah, so we know that what I like I like how little we know about what's actually going to happen in the movie. Like the trailers, I think have done a good job of showing you like the vibe and the visual style without really telling you like, hey, this is beat for beat what the movie's going to be. Like we know there's a Silver Surfer and a Galactus, and we know that there's a Fantastic Four, and they're publicly known, well liked superheroes, and that's really all we know. And I'm like, let's keep it that way. I don't want to. This is a movie I would like to kind of what you were saying about some of your favorites. So like I like 28 years later, like I would love to just get into a theater and have no real idea where the movie's gonna go, and just like
Yep.
let's ride the vibe wave,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are peak Pedro Pascal.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
I adore Vanessa Kirby. Thanks, Mission Impossible as well. And then
Mhm.
Ebon, how do you say his name? Hold on, I gotta look. Ebon Moss Backrack, uh, which I think is pretty close to how you actually say his name. I'm so sorry, but he's great on The Bear, of course, and then Joseph Quinn, who I know from that one season of Stranger Things that was actually really good. Um, I yeah, I am hoping this one is also good. Like Thunderbolts are better. Like let's there's promise. There is promise. I'm cautious, but there's promise.
Yeah, I am vaguely neutral trending toward neutral trending towards optimistic, which is again, I think that's good though, right? Like it's not going to break my heart if this one is bad the way that Superman will break my heart if it's bad.
Right.
But like I'm optimistic. Like I'm like I said, I'm pretty like I think like I said, I like the vibes. I like what I've seen, and I hope it's fun. I hope it's just a fun little movie. They've got a little robot. They've got a car they ride around in. It's
Little
very
robot.
like it looks very fun. So I hope it is.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Thanks for joining me, Liam, on the second episode of Coming Soon, where we can jump through all these summer movies, and hopefully they're very watchable. For my audience of four, well, three, because you're number four. Um, where can people listen to you on other shows?
Yeah, so you can find our show. It's called the DCAU Review. I do that with my brother Callum, or Cal as he's known on the show. We do a new episode
Hi,
every
Cal.
Saturday. You can find us on all the major podcast platforms. Just search the DCAU Review podcast. It'll come up. You'll find it. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all those places. So yeah, subscribe if you want to hear us wax poetic against about old superheroes. Also, if you're even further into a niche somehow within Steven's audience, if you like pro wrestling, I also have a pro wrestling podcast called The Wrestling Life with my other brother Ethan, and that one again you can find on all major podcast platforms. So The Wrestling Life and DCAU Review. Uh, Listen, please.
If you had a third brother, what would your what would your podcast with that brother be about?
I tried to get my sister to do a community podcast with me for a second. Like, like I kind of floated it as a joke, but I was like, if she said yes, I think I would have done it. So
What? Oh, you didn't ask me, you son of a bitch.
you said well, again, we're going with siblings. I think I said,
What? Okay.
Blood relation. I only do podcasts with people I'm blood related to, so you're disqualified immediately.
You're on my show. Fuck you.
You asked.
On a whim. Yes. It's last time, I guess.
Well, don't ask questions
All right.
if you don't want to know the answers.
Thanks for listening to Movie Lover 22. You can follow me. You can follow me on Letterboxd under the name Movie Lover Show. Do you want to plug your Letterboxd, Liam, or just leave it be?
Oh yeah, I have a letterbox also. I think it's Liam of Baltimore, I believe is what I am under there. So I mostly use it as a journaling device to keep track of what I've seen and when. But yeah, sure, give me a follow. I would love to hear your own thoughts on, say, the hit films I've seen, such as Aquaman 2 or Frankenhooker or let's see what other
You watched Spaceballs for the first time.
I did watch Spaceballs for the first time, and I also watched that weird Netflix movie with Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams recently. So if you have thoughts on any of those movies, hit up my letterbox. Let me know.
I will say it has been fun watching you over the last few years get into movies in a bigger way. It's been because you have our enjoyment of pop culture stuff overlaps kind of a lot, but there's still plenty on the respective sides of the Venn diagram that are different.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been very fun. Although we both gave. Never mind. I was going to say we both gave Captain Marvel a low rating, but I see your rating is for The Marvels, which is a movie I have not seen.
I only sort of saw that one, but yes.
Oh. But it's been very fun. The stuff that you and I have in common on a pop culture level, I stopped trying to keep track of it because I can't. I cannot count it. But thank you for joining me on this episode. It's been a lot of fun. So you can follow Liam on his shows, DCAU Review and The Wrestling Life. I think I said that right. Mm-hmm. And you can send me any messages to movielovershow@gmail.com if you have a question, a comment, tell me I'm a dick, whatever, it's fine. Feel free to leave the show a review on whatever app that you use. And tune in next time when we break down Season 2, Episode 4 of Titus.